Hello and welcome to another episode of the Srijan Wednesday webinars. For those you're joining us for the first time, this is a community initiative by Srijan Technologies where you can tune into a variety of sessions across the fields of technology, entrepreneurship, and community building. In today's session, we are going to take a look at simplifying inter-site communication with message queues. We'll dive into how RabbitMQ can be integrated with Drupal 7 and what are the benefits of doing so. And to take us through this, we are joined by Love Huria and Yogendra Prasad, senior Drupal developers at Srijan. Before we begin, I would like to request all participants to please type in any questions that you have during the presentation, and we'll take them up in the last 15 minutes of this session. Also, please don't forget to take the conversation live on Twitter using our hashtag SrijanWW. You can share your thoughts with us by tagging us in your tweets using our handle @Srijan. So, without wasting any more time, let's get right to it. Guys, over to you.
Okay. Thank you so much for the introduction, Lanjana. We are pretty excited to share whatever we have learned so far about RabbitMQ. So this is our agenda for the session. Basically, we will be talking about RabbitMQ. What is RabbitMQ, its features, how we can use it, how it works behind the scenes, Exchange, which is an important part of RabbitMQ, and AMQP overview, which is Advanced Messaging Queuing Protocol. And next is RabbitMQ with PHP and Drupal, how we can use and integrate with PHP and Drupal, and uses of RabbitMQ in real life, where we can use it in different applications. And there'll be a small demo which will be taken up by Yogi in the end. So let's start. So whenever we read about RabbitMQ on the internet or anywhere else, this is one of the questions which comes in our mind. That it is a integration server, is it a integration platform, is it a messaging server, is it a job server? Basically, it does all the things. It's an integration server because you can integrate with multiple languages, and you can also install it on Mac, Windows, Linux, etc. So yeah, and it's a job server because whenever you send a message from one place to another, that message actually happens to be a job, so it acts as a job server. Sorry. So that's pretty much it about it. So let's talk more about RabbitMQ. Basically, it is a server, or it can even call it a software. It sends and receives messages. So message can be of any form. It can be a simple text message, or it can be a process or task which needs to be done on another server. It is developed and maintained by Rabbit Technologies Limited. So they initially started off in 2007, and later it became part of a Pivotal software in 2013. Pivotal software actually does many things. They also support Redis, which we use in our systems, and it is an enterprise messaging system. And by enterprise messaging system, I mean they use a set of published enterprise-wide standards which allow you to send precise messages across systems. And it also promotes loosely coupled applications, so you can change the format of message without any impact of the message on the subscriber. So it is open source MPL. By this I mean the source code is released under Mozilla public license, and it is written in Erlang OTP, which is pretty cool actually. Erlang OTP was originally written for highly concurrent processes, which are usually a demand in our application these days. So they provide also wide commercial support. They provide online trainings and on-site troubleshooting. They are actually pretty flexible in that. So they also use AMQP for messaging, which is the core of RabbitMQ. So RabbitMQ was originally developed to use AMQP, but later there were so many protocols developed by different developers for different requirements. So let's go ahead. So who is using it? Basically, Facebook, Instagram, Indeed, and Mozilla Firefox, and there are many more clients which are using it. Facebook is using MQTT protocol for their iOS web chat, and Mozilla Firefox actually, whenever you open a browser and your browser crashes, that server log goes through RabbitMQ to the server. So you can create a different type of server logs, so you can identify which type of log is it. So it helps you in scaling your application and identifying your bugs, identifying your logs. So yeah, let's talk about features. It is multi-protocol. They support several messaging protocol directly or through plugins. You can actually create your own plugins. The most fundamental thing of multi-protocol is basically most of the protocols they provide they are more complex than the others, but they provide more freedom than others. So it actually depends on the requirement of the application. So you can use different protocols. So AMQP was first created, AMQP 0 to 10. Actually provide different mechanisms. They provide binding keys, routing key, and exchange mechanisms, so you can use it in an application. Then later on, there was AMQP 1.0, which is pretty different from AMQP 0 to 10. So there was no exchange and binding keys introduced in this. And next one is Stomp. It is a simple text-oriented messaging protocol. It is being supported by all versions of RabbitMQ, so you can use that for simple text messaging. And next is MQTT, which I just talked about. It is being used by Facebook for their iOS chat. And HTTP. Obviously, it's not a protocol, but you can always use it for sending message from one place to another. So there comes the important part where we generally lack the scalability issue in our application. So as you can see in the picture, host is not able to take that much load if the data is put on one side. And similarly in our application, take an e-commerce website where users come on the website and they try to do different things. They are adding a product to the wish list. They are buying a product. They are adding a product to the cart. So whenever we try to send lot of data at the same time to a server, the server will not be able to take that much load. So you can use RabbitMQ for that. So that is a good example for using RabbitMQ. It is cross-platform. Actually, RabbitMQ is for everyone. You can use it for PHP, Java, .NET, Haskell, and whatnot. Java, .NET, and Haskell is being supported by RabbitMQ core developers. So whenever a new feature is introduced in the system, those are introduced first in these libraries. And there are around 5 to 6 libraries introduced in PHP. So because we like to do different things in different manner, so we can use RabbitMQ for these languages, and there are many other more. Next one is management UI. They provide a very easy to use management interface. So it can be enabled via a simple command which RabbitMQ provides. So you can enable that. You can monitor, it helps you actually monitor and handle your RabbitMQ server from a web browser. It gives you a static estimate page where you can see different kind of rates and different kind of message rates and queued messages are happening on the server side. So whenever you there is a component in the management UI which is act message, that means acknowledgement. So whenever you see there is a high number of unacked messages, that means your consumers are getting low for the web application. So you can easily determine that your consumers are getting low. So management interface can also be useful for debugging your application. You can see what's going on in the server side. You can see your message rates and different things. So this is basically the overview of the management UI. You can see different connections, channels, exchange, what queues you have created, and you can also manage your users. You can see there's a different charts. First is queue 1 and second message rates. You can see at what rate you are receiving messages, and there are different things: ready, unacked, and total messages. You can see how many messages are unacked and how many messages are unread at this time. And you can also send message from the server itself. So it is pretty flexible in that sort of manner. So there comes the important part of RabbitMQ, high queues availability. So in order to have mirroring queues work, we need to have a working cluster. So we need to understand how clustering works first, and we need to understand how we can set up cluster. But it itself a big topic in itself. So we won't go in that far into much. So basically, clustering is RabbitMQ is a logical grouping of nodes. A node is basically nothing. It is an instance or it is a computer. So collection of those instances is called clustering. So You can set up mirroring queues by after you set up your clustering on the server side. So mirror queues works on the basis of master-slave operations. Whenever a master gets down, you can easily pick your slave on the places of master and you can replace that so that it is always available on the service. So you can, if one node of the cluster fails, the queue can automatically be switched on one of the mirrors and continue to operate without any unavailability of the service. So it automatically improves the availability of the service. So summing up features, it is multi-protocol as we discussed. It is highly scalable. It helps you scale applications. It is very easy to install. There are a bunch of commands and you just run them and it is already set up. It is cross-platform. You can use it with multiple languages. It has a very easy to use management UI and high queues already we just discussed. Over to you, Yogi.
Yeah, thanks, Love, for the overview about the RabbitMQ. So let's discuss more about the major components of the RabbitMQ. So we have three major components for sending a messages and receiving it. So we need publisher, or you can say a producer, which is wanting to send some messages to the consumer. And we need a message broker, or we can say the queue, and a consumer. So we have here you can see in this image that we have three producers, which is being connected to a message broker or a queue, and there is also a consumer which is being connected to the queue also. So there are messages currently being pushed into the queue are M1, M2, and so on. So when the consumer will consume these messages accordingly. So let's move to the another scenario. So what will happen if the producer is continuously pushing the messages to the queue and the consumer is not being connected yet to the queue to receive the messages? So let's suppose there is a producer which is being connected to a message broker and it's pushing message continuously to the queue. So M1 to M7 are the messages and the consumer is not there. So the messages will be persist and until and unless the consumer gets back and consume the messages. So there is a term called TTL, or we can say time to live. So we can also set a time to live with every corresponding queue. So and we can define for how much time a message can be persist in a queue. So after the time has been expires, the message will be gets deleted automatically from the queue. By default, the TTL is being unlimited, so the message will persist until and unless the consumer gets back and consume the messages. So there is another scenario we can say that in which a producer was there, which publishes the message and gets down, or we can say is not connected to the queue right now, and the consumer is also not connected to the queue right now. So what will happen to the messages? So in this case, the RabbitMQ is independent of the producer and the consumer, or we can say that it's working independently. So message will persist into the queue until and unless the consumer gets back, and it's not dependent on the publisher connected or not once the message is pushed to the queue.
So yeah, next comes the important part, exchange. So messages are not directly delivered to the queue; they go through exchange. So message exchange actually act as a message routing agent. It can act as a routing agent for where to deliver the message. It fetches the key and it knows how to deliver the message and where to deliver the message. So it is basically defined within the queue, and there are different types of exchange. It can be durable, it can be temporary, it can be auto-deleted. By durable, I mean it stays up even if server restarts. Whenever you restart the server, it stays up only. So next is temporary. It gets deleted whenever the server is shut down, and the third one is auto-deleted. So exchange is basically deleted whenever all queues have finished using it. So there's nothing left to use it. So it helps in that. There are several types of exchange type which works on a particular algorithm. So whenever you get the routing key, that it sends the message based on the particular algorithm. Binding is basically nothing. It's a link between queue and exchange, and the routing keys act as a address to the message. So whenever you send a letter back then, so there are two aspects of the letter actually. First is message and second is address. So routing key act as an address. So exchange knows where to deliver the message. It will look at the key and it will know how to route the message to different consumers.
Yeah, so let's discuss more about the exchange types we have in the RabbitMQ. So we have three types of, we will be going to discuss three types of exchanges right now: direct exchange, Fanout exchange, and topic exchange. So let's discuss about direct exchange first. So in direct exchange is the similar of as we write a letter to some address. Whenever we write an address, the address act as a routing key here. So here you can see that in this image, there are three queues: green, red, and orange. And the three consumers are connected to this queue respectively. So whenever a producer sends a message, and every message will be attached with a routing key. And routing key can be green, red, or orange. And correspondingly, the message will be delivered to that queue. In this case, for as of now, we have a message which is being routing key as green. The exchange will push that message to the queue, which is which have a routing key as green. So second one is a fan out exchange. In this case, or we can simply say it is a broadcast type. So whenever we want to send a single message to some bunch of or we can say group of people. So in WhatsApp we generally use the broadcast feature they provided. So fan out is similar to that. So here we have a message. So fan out exchange in this case just deliver these messages to all that queues which are being binded to the to that current exchange. So in this case we have three queues: green, red, and orange, and all these queues are binded to the Fanout exchange or whatever exchange name we are given to that. In this case, whenever a producer pushes a message to the exchange, the message will be delivered to the all the consumer which is being connected to the green, red, and orange. Suppose we have a fourth one queue here and it is not being binded to the exchange right now. So the message will not deliver until and unless it's being binded to the Fanout exchange. So the third one we are going to discuss is the topic exchange. It's the advanced version of direct exchange, we can say. In this, we do not have the routing key for on the basis of queue. We have routing patterns. In this case, you can see here in the image that for green, we have a routing pattern as *green.fast, and for red, we have *red.fast, and for orange, we have *fast. So in this case, the message is being delivered to the queues based on the pattern matching. For every message we send from producer sends to the exchange, we have to match the pattern. So suppose you can see in the image there is a message which have a routing key as first.green.fast. For according to this routing key, this routing key will match to the first one because * here means exactly one match, and so the so the message will be delivered to the green one and the orange one because it matches to the two patterns. So the for live example, you can say that if you are have been used syslog. So how the syslog works, that it gives us flexibility to create different log files based on the severity of the bug or issue. So here you can see create your own syslog type system in which you can maintain the logs based on the severity on the different places. So every queue can receive a message based on the severity. So you have to just pass the severity as a pattern, and based on that pattern, the log will be created on and delivered to the queue, which is being matching the pattern.
Yeah. So here comes the heart of RabbitMQ. Actually, RabbitMQ was developed to use AMQP, but there were so many protocols being developed by co-developers. So AMQP helps you communicate, and it helps you send message from producer to consumer through a broker. Actually, it is open source. So the most important advantage of open source is they have fast development cycles and they have large community support. And it is binary wire protocol standard. By binary wire protocol standard, I mean it is expected to read by machines as opposed in such as plain level text protocols such as IRC and different other protocols such as IRC and SMTP and different protocols. It is supportable in various languages. It is cross-platform. It is interoperable. It helps you to send messages between different systems, precise messages. It is reliable and secure. So by reliable, I mean both apps don't need to be running all the time. So one, as Yogi already told you, discussed, both consumers and producers don't have to be running all the time. We don't have to depend on any other else. So they have their implementations done in Apache Cupid, RabbitMQ, and ActiveMQ, which should be greater than 5.8 version. So RabbitMQ with Drupal and PHP, the installation and documentation is pretty much well defined and well versed on the RabbitMQ website. You can check on that. And the module is already available on Drupal 7 and for Drupal 7 and Drupal 8. For actually for our application we have created a custom module because that time that module wasn't released. But you can use this module because it is well documented and well defined. They have a very actively maintained PHP AMQP library, which is maintained by 4 developers. It is maintained on Git. And PHP has an extension of AMQP protocol, which you can check on the php.net website, official website. So the uses of RabbitMQ. With RabbitMQ, we can monitor data feeds. We can always monitor real-time data feeds. So if you want to send real-time data from one place to another, you can use RabbitMQ for that. If you want some seriality in order, seriality in data to be delivered, you can use RabbitMQ for logging purposes. As we already discussed, Mozilla Firefox is using it for logging. For different, they are using actually topic exchange. So they are logging the severity of different messages on the basis of topic. And if you want to transfer a huge amount of data from one place to another, you can use RabbitMQ for chat application. Facebook is using it already. For email broadcast, that is one of the major advantage of RabbitMQ. And wherever you want to run things in parallel, you can use RabbitMQ. So yeah, demo time, Yogi.
And thanks, Love. So let's have a brief, small demo over what we have so far discussed in the session. So we have right now set up 3 Drupals. So here you can say this is RabbitMQ1.local, so second one is RabbitMQ2.local, and the third one is RabbitMQ3.local. So we have created a sender. So RabbitMQ1 is a sender which will send the messages, and the rest of the 2 are the receivers for our messages. So let me check whether the receivers are running or not. Okay, let's push a message to the queue. This is direct message. So first of all, we are using the direct exchange for sending a message. By default, the RabbitMQ provides a direct exchange. So if you don't have any defined direct exchange in your code, then it will work as a direct exchange, and it will deliver message based on the routing key. So I just send a message, and the message has been inserted in the queue. And here we have a UI, as Love already discussed with you guys, that where we can manage the RabbitMQ. Yeah. So here you can see that we have a queue demo_queue._1, which have one message pending for receive, or we can say to be consumed. So let's push one other message. So let's refresh this one.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. So here you can see that it's been running and there are 2 messages to be consumed. So let's get into the queue. Here you can see the usage of the queue. So how frequently the queue is being used, and you can also see here other different operations. You can also delete the queue and other operations also. Let's run the receiver. So as of now, we have created a basic PHP file as a receiver. So as of now, this is our receiver, which will receive a message, and as we run the receiver, you can see that the messages are being consumed by the receiver, And if we go to this, you can see that the message is being received to the other Drupal. So direct exchange can be used just to, suppose you have to migrate some content from one environment to other environment. So let's discuss about the second one we have in our box. The second one is the Fanout Exchange, or we can say a broadcast. So I want to broadcast. I want to send this to all. So I just send this message, and if we come back to the our UI management, yeah, you can see that, as you know that our one receiver is already running, so it consumes the message instantly. So as it is running in the on the backend, and for other we have, as I told you, we have three total Drupal installations. So the third one, for third one we don't have run the receiver yet, so the message isn't being pushed in the queue. And if we go to the exchange, we can see that there is our exchange we have created by the code name as broadcast, and the two queues are binded with the exchange. So we can also unbind the, we can also do multiple operations here. We can also add more queues and bind them with this exchange and unbind these current queues from the exchanges. So let's run the receiver for the third one also. So as we run this, the queue will get empty and the message will be consumed. So here you can see that the message being consumed, and if we go to this and refresh, here you can see that I want to send this message at RabbitMQ local 2, and I want to send this to all. So it's a broadcast. In this case, we have already binded two messaging queues to the exchange, and we receive a message on every queue which is being binded. So let's discuss the third one. So third one we have named as dog. This is the example of topic exchange. So suppose we are creating a issue. So in this case, we have to first, we have created a different receiver file for this, because in this case, the binding needs to be done already with the queue. So we just running the file which we have created for this. And now I can show you something different in this case. So if after running the receiver file, you can see here we have now a topic, the exchange, new exchange name log of type topic. When we click on this, as of now I have defined two patterns. So in code we have option to define the routing key patterns, and I have, as of now I have defined xstrict.critical and kern.critical. So you can define whatever you want. So let's generate a new message. This is log critical. So I just sending a message test.critical. So in this case, this will work as a routing key. So when I send this message, the message will get delivered because it matches the critical criteria. And when you come to the third one, you can see here that this is a log critical topic. So I just added a topic keyword with every message so that we can distinguish it easily. So let's try to fake it out. And this is fake log and log, and now I am not sending any matching criteria. Test dot test, sorry. Now the message has been pushed to the queue, but will not be received by any queue, because it will not match to any criteria. It is not falls under the critical and also not under the kern. So it will be dropped out. So there is a mechanism to manage the drop messages also. So as of now, you can see here that the message is not received by the queue. So let's send one more message. Again, kern type issue. It's a log. I just sending it current.test test. So it will now receive by the queue because we have a matching routing pattern current.xtick. So xtick is yeah, exactly one word matching. So this is the we receive here messages. So let's discuss about this UI which RabbitMQ provide out of the box. Here you can manage the overview how much is the load on the RabbitMQ, how much connections are there, how much messages are being there, and how much messages are being publishing currently. So here you can see that it's a graphical UI also so that it can be easily understandable. So it's showing that we have 3 channels right now, 3 connections right now. We have 10 exchanges, 3 queues, and 3 consumers connected. So next one we can discuss about the exchanges. As I already told you that these are the different exchanges. You can create as many as you want. You can also create your own exchange from the UI only. And also, if you go into the detail of the exchanges, you can see that it's a usage graph, how much messages you are receiving, and these are the routing key patterns, which queues are binded right now, and you can also bind a new queue with this one, and you can also publish any new message from here, and you can actually this UI provides you the plenty of option to play around. You can also play around on this. So this is the list of queues. Then we have admin option where you can create your own user, so that you can assign access to the based on the user level. So the last one is visualizer. So this one is the new option which is being added in the version 3.6, RabbitMQ version 3.6.9. As of now we were using 3.6.6. So we have to dig it more, and will then only we can tell something more about this. So let's I think that's all from the demo perspective. Let's have a little bit view to the code also. So here you can see that I have created a custom module, and in that I have defined the routing keys accordingly. So here we have to just use the AMQP library to initiate the to create a channel. First of all, we have to create a channel, and after that we have to just publish a message. And so in the case of direct, we have to publish a message along with the routing key. So here you can see that the routing key we are using as demo Q1, or we can also use the second one, whatever you want. In case of Fanout, you can see that here we have to first declare exchange, and we have defined the exchange name for Fanout as broadcast, and other arguments, and we have to bind the queue with the exchange. After binding the queue with the exchange, we have to just publish the message to the exchange, and the exchange will push the message to all the queues to which it's been binded. And for third one, we have the topic exchange. In this, we just have to as I told you, it's the advanced version of the direct exchange. In this, we just have to declare the exchange and publish it. In publishing, we need the routing key, exchange name, and a message. So let's have a look on the receiver side. So for this also, we have created a custom module in Drupal only. You can also use the contributed module, or you can also create your own custom module to play around it. So if we go to classes, we have topic log.inc. So here you can see that I have created a receiver for the topic type of exchange. And as you seen earlier that in the management UI, there were 2 type of routing patterns appearing. So here we can also define our own routing patterns. Suppose if I suppose I define low dot extract and just save this file, and we just have to rerun the receiver. Okay, so just I'm rerunning the receiver, and now what will happen, you can see that in management UI in exchanges, if we go to log, sorry, you can see that our low keyword is also appearing here, and now you will be able to send a message. Suppose just I'm sending one low priority issue, and just sending a log and low dot issue. So you can see that this message will be get received by the low priority issue name. So that's all from the demo perspective. Yeah, so thank you. So you can start playing around with the RabbitMQ. It's a great open source tool.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah,
All
just
thank you, Love, and thank you, Yogendra, for taking us through through the presentation and also the very detailed demo that you just presented. So, I would like to tell our listeners that if you have any questions for the speakers, now would be the time to type them in so we can take them up with the speakers. And while you type your questions in, I already have a couple of questions here with me. So the first one is RabbitMQ is a message queue. What are the other options available? Like, are there other message queues available? And if yes, how is RabbitMQ better than any of those, or how does it compare to the other message queues available?
Actually, there are many types of queues available. One of them is provided by Amazon AWS. But RabbitMQ is pretty fast, and it is open source. They have fast development cycle, and it's most important. It's free. We can use it. We can play around on our local, and we can use it for different applications.
and it's also a platform independent. It's they are providing their library for in different platforms. You can connect a Node.js application to PHP using RabbitMQ only.
Yes, and it is very easy to install for other as far as know. There are very tedious. It's a very tedious work. The server, message queue server, and it is they provide a bunch of commands. You can just run it through, and you are all set for RabbitMQ.
All right. So if somebody is trying to set up RabbitMQ for the first time or trying to work with it for the first time, what are the couple of things that you think they should remember, or basic hygiene factors that should be there before you start working with RabbitMQ?
Nothing more complex. As we told earlier, that RabbitMQ is a very basic and is a very funny or sort of thing. You can just install a server from the RabbitMQ website and just start playing around with it. There are some basic commands you can found on the website only. As we just given the URLs, the http rabbitmq.com, from where you can download the server, and there are some basic commands to hands on the RabbitMQ. You can clear the queue using the using the command line only, and then you can connect it with any any platform. You can connect it with PHP with Node.js. There are individual libraries available on the RabbitMQ platform website only. From here you can use starting using.
Yeah, and if you know Erlang, you can create your own plugins.
Yeah, you can also extend it to by using Erlang.
Okay, great. So I think next up I have two very technical questions about RabbitMQ. One is, how do you delete a queue in RabbitMQ?
We can show you.
Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, from the management UI, it's very simple. So you just have to go to the queues, and if you want to delete this one, you can just delete, and so the queue is for is being deleted. And from code on also you can do this operations. So there are various functions available for the RabbitMQ for the AMQP library, from where you can delete or purge the queue programmatically.
And you can also use different commands.
Yeah, you can also use some command line options also. Let me show you some of them. Suppose you want to reset all your queues. So there is an option of so this to stop. First of all, you have to suppose you want to reset your RabbitMQ server and delete all queues and all the messages which are currently there in the RabbitMQ presented. So just you have to run this command. So this has been stopped the server, and then you have to run reset. And then start it again. Now if you run a command called list underscore queues, you can see that there is not a single queue is present there. All the queues are being reset. So let's create go to the UI so that you can confirm. You can see here that there is all the queues are purged and every message in the queues are also purged. So there are also some functions available with the AMQP library also. You can use them also.
Just like we have a function basic publish to publish the message, we can also there's a simple function to delete the queue, delete the exchange.
Yeah.
Okay, great. The next question is it possible to create a delayed queue in RabbitMQ? And if yes, how can we do that?
And sorry, we are not clear about the question. Delayed queue.
Can you elaborate a bit?
Just a second. I mean, that is the basic question that I have got. Um, okay, so what I can gather from the question is that how can you create a delayed or a parking queue in RabbitMQ? Is that at all possible? I mean, that
We didn't have explored that much into the RabbitMQ as of now, but I think there must be some option so that we want to deliver. So consumer will receive this message after some time, and so that there must be a delay in receiving the message. I think there must be a option provided by the AMQP library and the RabbitMQ itself.
Yes, we can always explore the library to do this sort of thing.
Okay, all right. So, apart from that, have you used the RabbitMQ in any sort of client situations? And if yes, any challenges that you might have faced or people might come across?
Yes.
Yeah, we have used RabbitMQ for an e-commerce project in which we have two different set of Drupal leaves. So we were creating an e-commerce platform, different marketplace and instance of different instance of marketplace and a separate instance of merchant. So in that case, we will need to transfer all the orders and transaction related details to one Drupal to another Drupal. In that case, we uses the RabbitMQ server.
Yeah, and it worked quite great.
Yeah, it was working quite great.
So there are no common challenges or pitfalls that people should look out for, or like this usually happens when you try to do RabbitMQ, and this is the thing that you should look out for, and this is how to avoid it.
Yeah, so as RabbitMQ is we afterwards we shifted to the AWS services because we were needed to shift it to the complete AWS architecture. So it was obviously AWS is more robust, and but as RabbitMQ is free to use, and for a limit of time we were also using it for transferring our data and for logging our issues and logs.
Okay, so since RabbitMQ is open source, is it Is it a good enough solution to be used for used in enterprise settings, or you would suggest something more robust like AWS be used for enterprise and RabbitMQ be reserved for smaller scales projects?
Yeah,
Actually, many big clients are using it. So
yeah.
as we just said, we Mozilla, Firefox, Facebook, and different platforms are using it. So it is quite famous, and it is.
We can, I think we can use it for big architecture solutions
Yeah,
also.
you can. It can also be easily extendable. You can write your plugins and different protocols you can use depending on the requirement.
And yeah.
All right. So I think you've answered all the questions that I had, and yeah, we do not have any more questions currently. So if any of our listeners have any more questions afterwards, you can always send them to us at webinars@srijan.net, and we can take them up with the speakers. But for now, I think that's all we have got. Thank you, both of you, for being on the webinar with us today and taking us through that really nice presentation and the demo as well, and patiently answering all the questions. Great to have you here, and you all have been a great audience, and we hope to meet with you in another 2 weeks time. That's all for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.